Feeling overwhelmed? Denzel Washington's motivational speech shows us that even when life feels heavy, you can choose to rise above it. Stick around, because this message could inspire a change you've been waiting for. Life hits you hard sometimes, really hard. And today, I'm standing here to tell you something that might sound a little crazy at first. You have the power to choose happiness. Even when it feels like everything around you is crumbling, that power is yours. Hear me out. I'm not talking about some magical trick or pretending your struggles don't exist. I'm talking about a choice. A decision you make every single morning when you open your eyes. It's a choice that's entirely yours to make. I know this because I've been there. I've walked through some of life's darkest valleys, carrying a heavy heart, watching my dreams seem impossible, and feeling like the world was against me. But do you know what I realized? Happiness isn't something that just happens to you. It's not some gift that falls into your lap. It's something you create, something you build, and yes, something you fight for. Too many people sit around waiting for happiness to show up at their door like it's a package they ordered online. They're waiting for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect moment. But let me tell you something. Happiness doesn't work that way. It's not about what life hands you. It's about what you do with what you've got. Think about a muscle. If you want it to grow, you've got to work it. You've got to push against resistance, feel the burn, and keep going. Happiness is no different. Sometimes you've got to force yourself to smile when you feel like crying. You've got to push yourself to stand when you just want to stay down. You've got to keep moving forward, even when every part of you is screaming to quit. Because in those moments, when you refuse to give in, you're not just surviving. You're building something. You're creating happiness. And that choice, it's yours. Always. Let me tell you a story about a young man I knew. He grew up in one of the roughest neighborhoods you can imagine. Every single day, he had to walk past things that could have easily pulled him down. Drug dealers on the corners, violence on the streets, hopelessness in the air. But he made a choice. Every morning, he'd put on his best clothes, even if they were worn and faded. He'd smile at everyone he saw, even if they didn't smile back. And he'd whistle as he walked, even though his stomach was empty. People would look at him like he was crazy. They'd ask, "How can you be so happy in the middle of all this?" And he'd reply with something simple but profound. "I'm not happy because of where I am. I'm happy because of where I'm going." That young man went on to build a life beyond what anyone could have expected. Today, he owns 3 successful businesses and employs people from the same neighborhood he grew up in. He didn't wait for happiness to come knocking on his door. He built it day by day, choice by choice. Happiness is a lot like a garden. You can't just plant a seed and hope for flowers the next day. You have to work at it, water it daily, pull out the weeds of negative thoughts that threaten to take over. Protect it from the storms of life that try to wash it away. And even on the days when you don't see any growth, you have to trust that beneath the surface, something amazing is happening. It's easy to let life's weight crush you, to let those heavy days convince you that joy isn't possible. But that's exactly when you need to force yourself to be happy. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. It's like medicine for your soul. And sure, sometimes medicine doesn't taste good, but it works. It heals you. Start small. Smile for 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds. Notice how your face changes. Feel how your body begins to shift. That's not fake happiness. That's you taking control of your emotional state. That's you saying to your brain, we're not letting the circumstances decide how we feel. İçide. Happiness isn't just a feeling. It's a decision you make every single day. It's not about ignoring the tough times or pretending everything's fine. It's about saying, yes, life is hard, but I'm still going to choose to see the beauty. It's like a muscle. If you want it to grow, you've got to work it. You have to push against the resistance, feel the burn, and keep going. So when the world feels heavy, that's your moment to stand tall. When everything inside you screams to quit, that's when you take one more step forward. Because each step, each small act of defiance against the negativity, is you creating happiness. It's not about waiting for the perfect job or the perfect moment. It's about what you do with what you have right now. Choose happiness. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours to choose. I remember days when it felt like the weight of the world was pressing down on me. Days when my dreams seemed further away than I could bear. But here's what I learned. Your situation is not your destination. This chapter of your life isn't your whole story. Think about it, when you're driving through a tunnel, it always gets darker before you see the light. But do you stop driving? No, you keep going because you know there's an end. Your life might feel like that tunnel right now, but don't stop. Keep moving forward. Force yourself to do simple things every day. In the morning, list 3 things you're grateful for. Stand in front of the mirror and say, I am worthy, I am strong, I am capable. Even when it feels hard, help someone else. It might just be the thing that helps you too. Why? Because action creates emotion. You might wonder, isn't that just pretending? Let me tell you something. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and forced happiness. When you smile, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that make you feel good. That's not fake. It's science. It's you taking control of how you feel. I've seen people transform their lives with this mindset. I've watched them turn pain into power and struggle into strength. Not because they waited for the storm to pass or for happiness to find them, but because they decided to create their own sunshine right in the middle of it. That's the power of choice. That's the power of action. And it's all within you. Here's another truth. Happiness is contagious. When you force yourself to be happy, you don't just help yourself. You become a light in someone else's darkness. You show others that it's possible to stand tall even when life tries to knock you down. You become living proof that better days are within reach. Think about the people who inspire you the most, the ones you look up to. I'll bet they're not the ones who had the easiest lives. They're the ones who chose happiness despite their struggles. They're the ones who turned pain into purpose and struggles into strength. And here's the best part. That same power is in you right now, today, this very moment. You have the power to choose how you respond to life's challenges, the power to create your own happiness, even when the world feels like it's trying to steal your joy. Let me tell you something about the happiest, most successful people I know. They don't wake up every morning feeling happy and ready to conquer the world. No, they make a conscious decision to start their day right. They force themselves out of bed early, even when they'd rather hit snooze. They force themselves to exercise when their body just wants to rest. They force themselves to read something inspiring, even when scrolling through social media feels easier. And you know what happens? Those forced actions become habits. Those habits shape their character, and that character defines their destiny. Forcing happiness isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about refusing to let your problems deny you joy. It's not denial, it's defiance. Think of it like working out. The first time you hit the gym, it's uncomfortable. Everything hurts, your muscles ache, and your body resists. But you keep showing up. Day after day, what once felt impossible becomes second nature. Happiness works the same way. The first time you force yourself to smile through tears, it feels fake. The first time you force yourself to be grateful when everything's falling apart, it feels pointless. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You might ask, what about real problems? What about bills that need paying, relationships that are breaking, or dreams that feel dead? Listen carefully. Being happy doesn't mean ignoring your problems. It means tackling them with a mindset that says, this is tough, but I'm tougher. Force yourself to see obstacles as opportunities. Force yourself to see failures as lessons. Force yourself to see endings as new beginnings. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I've seen people lose everything. Their homes, their jobs, their relationships. But the ones who made it through, the ones who rebuilt their lives, all had one thing in common. They refused to let their circumstances define their attitude. They forced themselves to keep believing, keep hoping, and keep smiling. Here's the thing about happiness. It's not a destination. It's not a prize you win and hold on to forever. It's a daily choice, a moment-by-moment decision. Some days you might have to make that choice 100 times. When negative thoughts creep in, and they will force yourself to counter them with positive ones. when doubt shows up, and it will force yourself to remember your past victories. When fear starts to take hold, and it will stand your ground and push back with hope. The happiest people I know aren't the ones with the fewest problems. They're the ones with the strongest purpose. They force themselves to find meaning in their mess, opportunity in their obstacles, and strength in their struggles. Happiness isn't about waiting for life to get easier or for everything to fall into place. It's about what you do with what you've got right now. It's about waking up each day and choosing to fight for joy, to believe in better days, and to inspire others to do the same. You might be sitting there thinking, but you don't know my situation. You don't know how hard my life is. And you're right, I don't. But here's what I do know. Your situation is temporary. What's permanent is how you respond to it. That response is what shapes your character, your future, and your legacy. So force yourself to be the author of your own story. Be the creator of your happiness. Be the architect of your destiny. Because if you don't, life will assign you roles you never wanted to play. Tonight, before you go to bed, lay out your clothes for tomorrow. Pick your best ones, the ones that make you feel confident. When you wake up, put them on with purpose. Walk with your head high, even if your heart feels heavy. Smile at strangers, even if you're hurting inside. Do this not because you're pretending, but because you're fighting. Fighting for your joy, fighting for your peace, fighting for your right to be happy, even when life feels like it's weighing you down. Happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's the ability to keep moving forward despite them. It's dancing in the rain, laughing through the pain, and believing in yourself even when doubt is screaming in your ear. Force yourself to celebrate small victories, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Force yourself to recognize progress, even if it's just one step forward. Force yourself to find beauty in the ordinary moments of life. These aren't just feel-good ideas, they're survival skills. In a world that often feels overwhelming, these small choices make all the difference. Sometimes you'll have to force yourself to forgive someone who hurt you. Force yourself to let go of pain that's been holding you back. Force yourself to trust again, even when betrayal has left you guarded. These are not easy decisions, but they're necessary if you want to live a life filled with joy instead of bitterness. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind. Do you want to be remembered as someone who let life's hardships crush their spirit? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who chose joy, spread light, and refused to let circumstances dictate their happiness? The choice is yours. Every morning you wake up, the choice is yours. Every setback you face, the choice is yours. Every disappointment you encounter, the choice is yours. Force yourself to be a lighthouse for others. Be the proof that happiness is possible, even in the midst of life's storms. Be the living evidence that joy is not something that happens by chance. It's something you choose again and again. Life is going to throw punches, that's guaranteed. But your response to those punches, that's where your power lies. That's where your story is written. That's where your legacy is created. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for permission to be happy, waiting for the perfect circumstances, waiting for someone else to come along and fix their problems. But here's the truth. Happiness doesn't need permission. Joy doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. And the only person who can truly change your life is staring back at you in the mirror. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to start building your happiness. Start now. Choose it now. Force yourself to see the possibility of joy in this very moment, even if it feels hard. Because every time you make that choice, you're proving to yourself and to the world that happiness isn't about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. Force yourself to be that person who makes others wonder, how do they stay so positive? Force yourself to be the one who lifts others up, even while climbing your own mountain. Be the person who refuses to let life's weight crush their spirit. Remember this, your happiness is not just about you. When you choose joy, when you rise above your circumstances, you become an inspiration. You become proof that it's possible. You become hope in human form. The world needs your joy. Your family needs your joy. Your community needs your joy. But most of all, you need your joy. Don't wait for it. Don't wish for it. Work for it. Fight for it. Force it if you have to, Because here's the truth: what starts as force eventually becomes natural. What begins as a choice becomes a habit. What starts as a struggle becomes your strength. So stand up. Right now, wherever you are, whatever you're facing, stand up. Smile even if it feels fake at first. Keep smiling. Keep moving. Keep believing. Force yourself to see the light, even when darkness surrounds you. Your happiness is worth fighting for. Your joy is worth protecting. Your peace is worth guarding. Don't let anyone or anything steal that from you. Not circumstances, not people, not past failures, not future fears. None of these can define you unless you let them. Force yourself to be happy, not because life is perfect, but because you deserve joy. Force yourself to be happy, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Force yourself to be happy, not because you always feel like it, but because you're strong enough to choose it. This is your life, your story, your journey. You have the power to choose joy, to create happiness, and to spread light, even when life feels impossibly heavy. Make that choice today, tomorrow, and every day. Happiness isn't about having everything you want. It's about wanting and appreciating what you already have. It's about finding peace in the chaos, strength in the struggle, and joy in the journey. Force yourself to be happy until happiness feels like second nature. Force yourself to be positive until positivity becomes your automatic response. Force yourself to be hopeful until hope feels like an unshakable companion. The world might tell you it's impossible to be happy when life is hard, but you know better. Happiness isn't about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening within you. Stand tight, smile bright, keep moving forward. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your joy is your choice. Your light is your legacy. Never forget, the very act of forcing yourself to be happy, even when life feels unbearably heavy, is an act of courage. It's a rebellion against the darkness. It's faith in brighter days to come. You've got this. You're stronger than you realize, braver than you believe, and your happiness is worth every ounce of effort it takes to create, protect, and share it. Go out there and choose joy. Choose happiness. Choose life, not because it's easy, but because you're worth it. Because your happiness matters. Because your life makes a difference. Every morning you wake up is another chance to choose happiness, another opportunity to create joy, another moment to prove that while life's weight may feel heavy, your spirit is stronger. This is your time, your moment, your life. Force yourself to be happy, not because you have to, but because you can. Not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. Not because it's expected, but because it's transformative. Happiness isn't waiting somewhere out there. It's right here, right now, within your reach. So reach for it, fight for it, create it, and never, ever let it go. Stand up, step forward, smile. Let the happiness you force yourself to feel today become the authentic joy that carries you through tomorrow. That's not just surviving, it's truly living. What if I told you that every obstacle you face today is preparing you for something greater? Every time you force yourself to smile through difficulty, you're building resilience that will last a lifetime. It's like constructing a house, brick by brick, day by day. Look at nature. The strongest trees aren't the ones sheltered in greenhouses. They're the ones out in the wilderness, forced to dig their roots deep to withstand the storms. That's you right now. Every challenge is strengthening your roots. Some people ask me, how can I be happy when nothing's going right? I tell them about the pianist who lost both hands in an accident. Instead of giving up on music, he learned to play with his feet. Today, he performs concerts worldwide. He didn't find happiness. He created it. Your mind is like a garden, and negative thoughts are like weeds. They'll grow on their own if you let them. But happiness? Happiness is like planting roses. Takes effort, takes care, takes forcing yourself to tend to those roses even when you don't feel like it. Consider this. Every champion athlete trains even when they don't want to. Every successful businessperson works even when they'd rather rest. Every great artist creates even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. They force themselves to show up, to put in the work, to keep moving forward. And because they do, they achieve greatness, not because it was easy, but because they decided it was worth it. The same is true for your happiness. Show up for it. Work for it. Choose it. Every single day. Pain is inevitable in life, but suffering is optional. When you force yourself to find joy, you're not denying the pain. You're refusing to let it control your story. You're saying, yes, this hurts, but it won't define me. Let me tell you about a woman I met. She lost everything in a fire, her home, her possessions, her photographs. But every day, she'd visit the construction site of her new house, bringing coffee to the workers. She'd sit in her car, watch the progress, and smile. People thought she was in denial, but she told me, I'm not smiling because I'm happy about what happened. I'm smiling because I'm still here to build something new. That's the essence of forcing joy. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing your response to it. Happiness is about being the architect of your emotional state, not letting your circumstances dictate it. Think about water. It never stops flowing when it encounters an obstacle. It goes around, over, or under. Forcing yourself to be happy works the same way. Keeps you moving, keeps you growing. Your happiness isn't just for you. It's your contribution to the world. When you choose to stay positive, you become medicine for a wounded world. You become proof that resilience is possible, that joy can survive any storm. Consider the butterfly breaking free from its cocoon. If you help it, you weaken it. The struggle is necessary for its wings to strengthen. Every time you force yourself to rise above your circumstances, you're strengthening your emotional wings. Some people say, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, when I find the right person, when I reach my goal. But that's like saying, I'll start living when life is happening now. Joy is available now. Happiness is a choice you can make in this very moment. Here's a truth that might shake you. Happiness isn't something you feel. It's something you do. It's in the actions you take, the words you speak, the thoughts you choose to entertain. It's forcing yourself to see possibilities where others see problems. I've watched people transform their lives, not by changing their circumstances, but by changing their approach. They force themselves to find opportunities in obstacles, lessons in losses, and peace in chaos. Your story isn't over. Your struggles aren't your identity. Your difficulties aren't your destiny. Every time you force yourself to choose happiness, you're writing a new chapter. You're creating a new possibility. You're building a new reality. Take it from someone who's walked through fire. The ability to force joy when life feels heavy isn't just stubbornness. It's wisdom. It's knowing that joy isn't just an emotion. It's a weapon against despair, a shield against bitterness, and a light in the darkness. Each morning when you open your eyes, you have a choice. You can let your circumstances dictate your mood, or you can force yourself to rise above them. You can let challenges crush your spirit, or you can use them as stepping stones to greater strength. Your forced smile today might be the reason someone else holds on to hope tomorrow. Your chosen joy might inspire someone else to keep going. Your deliberate happiness might be the proof someone else needs to believe in better days. Joy is an act of defiance against the darkness, an act of faith in brighter days ahead. Your happiness matters, not just for you, but for the world around you. Every time you choose to find joy, even when it feels impossible, you're proving that happiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, nurture, and protect. It's a gift you give yourself and the people who need your light the most. Remember this, the same fire that melts butter hardens steel. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you choose to respond. Force yourself to be the steel. Let the fire make you stronger, not weaker. When life pushes you to your knees, let it become your place of prayer, your ground for reflection. When obstacles block your way, let them become your stepping stones. When darkness surrounds you, let it become the reason you shine even brighter. Your capacity for joy isn't determined by your circumstances. It's determined by your choices. Every time you force yourself to be happy, even when it's hard, you're proving that happiness isn't a reaction. It's a response. Stand firm in this truth. Your joy is too important to leave to chance. Your happiness is too valuable to be dictated by temporary troubles. Your peace is too precious to be disturbed by fleeting challenges. This moment right now is yours. It's your moment to decide, Will you let life's weight crush your spirit? Or will you use it to build your strength? Will you let challenges silence your laughter? Or will you let them fuel your determination? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The opportunity is yours. Force yourself to be happy, not because it's easy, but because it's transformative. Not because it's simple, but because it's revolutionary. Not because it's expected, but because it's liberating. The happiness you force today paves the way for the natural joy you'll feel tomorrow. The positivity you choose today creates the resilient spirit you'll rely on in the future. The deliberate joy you cultivate now is building the unshakable peace you'll carry with you. Stand strong. Choose joy. Force happiness, not because life is perfect, but because you are powerful. Not because the path is easy, but because you are unstoppable. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to prove that happiness isn't just a feeling. It's a decision. It's a commitment. It's a revolution. Let your forced joy be a testament to your strength. Let your chosen happiness become your legacy of resilience. Let your deliberate positivity become a gift to the world. It's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. It's not about hoping for lighter burdens. It's about building stronger shoulders. It's not about wishing for an easier road. It's about creating your own way forward. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your joy is your choice. Your light is your legacy. So choose wisely. Choose boldly. Choose now. Every time you force yourself to be happy, even when life feels heavy, you're not just changing your moment. You're shaping your future. You're not just lifting your spirits. You're inspiring the world around you. This is your revolution. This is your transformation. This is your moment of power. Seize it with both hands and never let it go. Your happiness isn't just a choice. It's your birthright. No circumstance, no challenge, no obstacle can take that away unless you let it. Rise up. Stand strong. Choose joy. Your best life isn't waiting for you somewhere out there. It's being created by you, right here, right now, one forced smile, one chosen laugh, one deliberate moment of happiness at a time. The world needs your joy. The world needs your light. The world needs your strength. So give it freely. Share it boldly. Spread it widely. Because when you force yourself to be happy, despite life's challenges, you become more than just happy. You become unstoppable. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your opportunity is waiting. Seize it with everything you've got. Let the happiness you force today transform into the joy that comes naturally tomorrow. Standhalten. Stay strong. Keep shining. Your happiness isn't just for you. It's for every life you touch, every heart you inspire, every soul you lift with your chosen joy. This is your story. Make it a triumph. Make it a transformation. Make it unstoppable. Happiness isn't just a feeling you wait for. It's a force you create. It's not just an emotion you hope for. It's a choice you make. It's not just a state you wish for. It's a strength you build. So build it, choose it, create it, and never, ever let anyone or anything steal your joy. Denzel Washington's words remind us that happiness is not a passive state but an active choice, a daily commitment to rise above our circumstances. Inspired by this mindset, I want to share a moment from my own life when I learned to create joy, even when it felt impossible. A few years ago, I went through a particularly challenging time. I had just lost a job I loved, one I thought defined me. The weight of failure pressed down on me every morning, making it hard to even get out of bed. I felt stuck, questioning everything about my future. But one day, I decided to try something different. I remembered a piece of advice about starting small, so I made a promise to myself. I'd find one reason, just one, to smile every day. At first, it felt forced and unnatural. I smiled when I saw sunlight streaming through the window, even though my heart wasn't in it. I smiled when I made my coffee, grateful I had a quiet moment to myself. Slowly, that simple act began to shift my perspective. I started volunteering at a local shelter, helping people who were also facing hard times. Seeing their resilience inspired me to keep going, to see challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. Over time, those small forced smiles turned into genuine joy. The act of choosing happiness didn't just change my mood, it rewired my thinking. It reminded me that even in life's hardest moments, I have the power to create my own light. That lesson stays with me to this day, fueling my commitment to keep moving forward, no matter what. If Denzel Washington's wisdom and these lessons resonate with you, imagine how much more we can uncover together. This is just the beginning of your journey toward a life filled with purpose and resilience. Subscribe now to stay inspired, to continue learning, and to make the next step in your story even more powerful than the last. Your happiness, your strength, your legacy, it all starts here. Let's create it together.